Hey guys, this is John
and Austin,
and welcome to another episode of the Meatgistics podcast. Now, it's just Austin and I up here right now, but we did record a segment a little bit earlier with some of the guys from Excalibur. We had the head of sales.
VP of sales and marketing.
VP of sales, okay. And then we had their CEO and he had another title that I don't remember.
I think it was just CEO.
Just CEO? I mean, that is enough.
I don't know. Sometimes people are CEO, president type of thing.
Something
but
like that.
I never... actually, my dad is our CEO, and he has his title as CEO/president, and I never understand really why. I'm like, if you're CEO,
kind of do them. Yeah,
that's enough.
Things. Right. How much more can you ask of a person? But we got a chance to talk to them for about 15 minutes. Really good. Obviously, we have a very good relationship with Excalibur. This podcast that segment kind of somewhat unexpectedly kind of dove into why that happens. It wasn't what we were planning on, but some of the answers to their questions shedded a little bit of light, at least for me, and why we work so well together with them. So for people who listen all the time, hopefully they're noticing that I'm trying to talk in a deeper voice. There was some accusation about the tone of my voice. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so we're going to get that to you right now. So check that out. Definitely worth a listen. Hey guys, this is John, and welcome to a special segment of the Meatgistics podcast. As you can see, I don't have Austin up here with me. Instead, I've got two Excalibur executives. I've got John, who is
the Vice President of Sales and Marketing.
And
Mike Shrier, who's President and CEO.
So we've got two big dogs, and we're going to talk to them about some of the reasons you should love Excalibur as much as we do. So starting off, what makes Excalibur an extraordinary place to work with and to do business with?
I think that's a multi-topic answer, because when I first started out with Excalibur 22 years ago, I came from the retail meat industry, and I was introduced to Jay Hall when I worked for Super Value in Minneapolis. And what Super Value did at the time is we serviced a lot of independent grocers, and I had been tasked to come up with a marinade program that was tailored to these independents. And so when I met Jay, the company was willing to come in and work with us and tailor make these programs, and that impressed me right out of the gate. So as I advanced in my career in the retail meat industry, I took Jay and Excalibur along with me to set up programs for the independent retailers, and each time they had great flavors. Every program was successful for the most part, and so it made me look good. So a couple years went by, and Jay had came to me and asked if I wanted to come on board with Excalibur. And after I told him no on a couple different occasions, I was at a point in my career where I thought it would be good for a change. So when I came on board with the company, I thought I'm going to do this for 2 years, and then I'll move on my way. Well, again, that was 22 years ago, and the best part about working for a family-owned business is that you can make a huge impact. You're not a number working for a large corporation, so whatever you do makes a difference. That's sometimes can be good and bad, but what I was always given the freedom to do at Excalibur was the not just the freedom to succeed, but the freedom to fail. And I think that's been one of the greatest benefits for me of working for a family business. And then in turn, over the years, the people that you work with, they turn into your family as well. So it's just been a fantastic ride, and I'm planning on doing it as long as I can.
I couldn't agree more with the family business. Mm-hmm. It makes a world of difference in the end. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
I would just say I agree with everything John said, but I think the Hall family in general, Jerry, the founder, they always treated everybody like they were family, and that went for customers. I think Jerry always looked at customers as his friends, and he tried to make them more profitable, which would make the company more profitable. So he tried to grow their business, help them, and then in turn that helped Excalibur. And I think that that's carried down through the years, and that's the culture that we're trying to build on right now, John and I. as we try to bridge the gap to that next generation. And we try to keep it a family-run business. We continue to grow, and we try to keep that family culture as we go forward. And as we bring in new employees, we really try to promote from within if we can, and really try to introduce them and build on that culture. So,
and to hinge off the Hall family, every year at AMP, I always have some of the old timers come up to me and tell me that, hey, had it not been for Jerry Hall, my business would have went under, or, Jerry really helped my business succeed. And so still to this day, there's people that keep that in mind, and that culture we've carried on to our sales staff that we have today. So we've got some decades of knowledge that carry on that tradition.
Yep. And I can say from just immediately when I started working here, it was clear that Walton's had a special relationship with Excalibur, and that has not in any way changed, at least in our mind. With that in mind, that relationships are such a huge part of what makes your business you. What are some things that you guys do better or as good as, at least, than most other competitors? And either one of you want to jump on that?
I'll take that first, and then I'll let Mike jump in wherever. But what I think that we do better than our competitors is, as far as development goes, we work with our customers. So if our customers have an idea or they bring a trend to us that they're really passionate about, believe they have a market for, we'll develop that, and we work with our customers. And to that end, on the development side, nothing is too outlandish. We've worked on some what I've considered crazy projects over the years that have turned out to be the next big thing. So one thing I can attest to is we came up with a marinade program years and years and years ago that used a bottle that typically was used in the landscape business. And you're familiar with our tip and measure bottle. We no longer have that program, but it was alive and well for 20 years. And at the time, it sounded like a crazy idea that had never been used on the food front before. And I had a retailer in California come and share this idea with me. Can you do this, because no one else will? And to answer your question, that's just one thing that I can think of off the top of my head. Of as far as many, is we listen to our customers, and if they have ideas that we can help with, we're always there to do that.
Good.
So,
yeah, I would add to that, John. I think we're very customer service oriented. Mm-hmm. We do make mistakes sometimes, like everybody else. We own up to those, and we try to make it right for the customer. Our customer service, as far as lead times and quantities, I feel like we do that better than a lot of people, where we're catering to that smaller customer, like our medium-sized customers too, and very customer service oriented at Excalibur.
Well, I can say that our core customer base is still that small, medium meat processor. We do have the larger customers, and we appreciate them, but where the company was built, and I think still where our heart and soul is that small, medium processor who, if there's one thing that we've saw through the pandemic, that small, medium processor is needed more in our industry now than more than ever. And so that's, again, still our core customer base, and we're able to cater to them and still service their business. None are too small. So
a quick note on since you obviously have a background with the marinades and a passion for it, since you kind of were instrumental in getting the program going, Austin and I would often sit back and talk about how we don't sell enough of the marinades to retail customers. Mm-hmm. But we hadn't really been looking at the numbers, because they have been climbing.
Yes.
And we have a targeted program specifically for Excalibur's dry marinades, and we're starting to release those videos now. And the first one's done very well. So the home guy is also waking up to how good those marinades are. How much
it's a game changer.
It really is. It absolutely is. All right. So not trying to keep you guys here too long. The last thing I want to talk about is Sqf Level 3, and what exactly that means, why Excalibur does it, what it provides to the end user.
So SQF stands for Safe Quality Food, and the names have, the vernacular rather has changed over the years, but most people still recognize the Sqf Level 3 as being the highest certification that you can get on the safe quality food side, and it is. So it's something that's not just handed out; it's something that's earned. And what it means to our customers is the fact that everything has checks and balances in our plant. Everything that's touched, from the time that raw material comes in, from the time it goes into a mixer, and down to sanitation, down to cleaning, down to how our employees handle our product. That's all part of the process, and we're audited every year. And one thing that I can say about SQF is what you have documented, what you document, you follow it, and it's part of your culture. And I can say that over the years that SQF has become ingrained in our culture and throughout our entire manufacturing staff. So, Mike, if you have anything to add to that.
I think it's we hold ourselves to a higher standard, right?
Yes.
I mean, we allow outside entities to audit us, and we have plans in place, and we demonstrate that we are following our plans on an annual basis. We're audited. We just had our SQF audit in our plant recently, and we passed. And it was my first time through the audit process from a day to day, and I was impressed with the amount of documentation, the amount of plans, from our testing through the plant to product handling, like John talked about. You hold yourself to these plans, and you demonstrate that you're doing what you say you're going to do. And I think it says a lot about the company to put that as an important piece of our marketing to other outside entities that we are an SQF facility, and we plan to continue to do that and continuously improve.
Well, and more of our larger customer base in particular, it's simply a requirement. Mm-hmm. When we first started participating in the program, it was because we had a larger retail customer that required that, and it's probably one of the better decisions that we've ever made, because it's a nice stamp to have on your card, and it's not a cheap certification to maintain either. So it adds a lot of cost just from internal auditing standpoint, but it's well worth it in the long run because it means a lot to our customer base. Was
it difficult to get employee buy-in on that?
I think the employees have totally bought into it now, and they feel comfortable when an auditor comes in. They know that, hey, you just follow our plans, follow what your standard operating procedure that you do every day, and you've got nothing to worry about when we're being audited. So, and I would say from a leadership perspective, it gives us peace of mind. Sure, we're doing the right things, and sure, there's times where you're going to make an error or a mistake or whatever, but you continuously get better, and so I think it's a really positive thing for the company.
Mm-hmm. All right, quick last question. I'm throwing this at you with no warning. Favorite seasoning?
The ultimate steak and roast rub.
That's what I'm going to say too.
It's impossible. It goes on everything. It is the only thing I put on steaks anymore. Yeah. We did something for another video recently, and I was eating it, and I was thinking in my head, I'm like, I wish this was ultimate steak and roast rub. It's just so much better than anything else you can put on steaks. Yeah. Obviously, the Walton's ultimate steak and roast rub.
Right. I should have qualified that. If I had something that was a close second, it would be the Smokehouse Barbecue, and those two blends have been around since I've been around at Excalibur for 22 years, and they still continue to be best sellers. But we have new flavor profiles that are coming out that are really chipping away at that.
I would say that sweet chipotle lime is climbing the list quickly.
Yes, it is, and don't discount the blackberry pepper.
I don't know of this. We'll have to take a look at that.
We'll have to take a look at that. And I believe you have it out in your warehouse.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that. Well, we'll check it out. All right, guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes out of your day to sit with us. So we're going to finish up with the rest. Okay. And we're back.
So on to meat matters for the day.
Yep.
And I feel like I'm going to talk like the rest of the time and just cut you out since I didn't get to be a part of the Excalibur conversation.
No.
So-
I asked you. I asked you. You said you.
I know we really only have room for 3 people
Yeah.
up here and 3 mics. And honestly, it's better if you do it than I do it. So
Patrick and I were talking about that. If we ever want to do like a true round table with like a bunch of people, we have the setup for it in some ways, but we would need to roll this out of the way and bring in some other sort of table.
do we still have that one table that we?
No.
Oh, dang.
I offered it to you. I still have
Yeah.
the pipes that I put together
Oh, yeah.
for the basement, but that's all that's left.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Okay.
So meat matters. And just to kind of pat myself on the back, I got to putting articles in here first.
You did.
So I went through and selected these this time.
first-
Normally I just walk in and I haven't read anything,
Right.
but I know what I'm talking about today.
That's what I was going to say. First isn't really like the thing there. It's that you got some in there, period. That was the big surprise. All right, go ahead.
So the first thing I saw as I was reading through some news articles and then just kind of triggered some other general thinking from me was some articles talking about how to safely handle deer meat, which obviously is important right now because deer season is kicking off in all different parts of the country, depending upon where you are and what season you're looking at. But then there was a few bits to it that I found interesting, particularly about COVID. Because I've also seen some other stats, and then I actually got a hard number from this one because I didn't remember what the number was on how much and how many deer in different areas have been testing positive for COVID or
Right.
antibodies,
Yep.
which is it's low in a number of areas, but a few areas it's shockingly high.
Mhm.
So the one that really caught my eye was Michigan. Michigan had 67% of the deer tested showing COVID antibodies. Crazy. So it's just, I don't want to get on it too long because, I mean, we've been talking COVID for the last year and a half, and I know everybody's sick of it, but it's just crazy that shows like, hey, COVID's not only a thing that's affecting us and humans, but it's affecting other wildlife too.
Okay. When you say affecting, is it really affecting them? Like, do they get actually sick with it, or do they just have the virus in it? We constantly have all sorts of viruses in our body that either do nothing or are somewhat beneficial. So I'm guessing that they get it and it doesn't really slow them down. Like, I guess dogs can get it as well, but they don't actually get sick from it. So I would bet.
I don't know.
What's interesting about that, and I'm not trying to jump ahead because I know there's more we want to talk about on that, but Michigan, that's interesting because where do we see the highest concentration of CWD? In Michigan. So whatever they're doing to their deer up there, they need to ease off.
They need to start breeding some stronger deer.
Yeah, something.
I don't know. But one of the things that they're suggesting to do is avoid contact with the lungs of a dead deer. I don't really know how you do that because you're going to have to gut the deer and go through it.
Yep.
I think in my mind, you're just going to use your normal safety and sanitation and cleanliness. Use gloves.
Right.
Wash your hands when you're done. I feel like it's all just common sense things that you should have done. From the
Deer and
beginning.
wild game rinse.
Deer and wild game
for
rinse.
sure.
Yeah. But overall, safely handling deer meat. Keep everything clean when you're out in the field, you're skinning, you're gutting. Try to put like a tarp down or something. Put something down so you're not on the dirt. You're not cross-contaminating with whatever else is out where you're at. Try to be quick with everything. The faster you get through skinning and gutting, and you can get that meat back somewhere where you have refrigeration of some sort, the better quality the meat's going to be, the longer shelf life you're going to have, and honestly, the better it's going to taste.
Yep. Now, a lot of people don't skin in the field, obviously. A lot of people hang it, hide on, and then skin it later. I'm sure some people do. But everything you said there is just, like, it's common sense. There's the big one, I think, is going to be, since we're not supposed to touch the lungs anymore. I like to roll in the lungs, much like a dog when it smells like coyote poop. So I will stop doing that. It's unfortunate, my favorite part, but whatever. What can you do? Real quick, I want to jump in on this just because we were talking about COVID being in like animals and places you wouldn't suspect it. And I did look this up to make sure it's true because I heard this a long time ago, but COVID has been found in the ice cream supply.
What?
Yep. It popped up once. Like I heard one podcast cover it once, and then it's never hit the news again. So I don't know if it's actually in the food supply and people just don't want to talk about it because that's going to cause panic or what. But it is reported that it was found in ice cream.
To be honest, that makes a whole lot more sense to me because I got COVID, and when I got COVID, I was I'm off my ice cream kick now, but I was on the biggest ice cream kick of all time. I was eating so much stinking ice cream. I don't know what. Well, I have theories on what it is, but why I was doing that, but I won't get into all that. But I think that would make sense as to why I got sick because I had been around multiple other people, like close quarter, close contact, more than 15 minutes at a time for like hours at a time of people that had COVID, and I never got sick. And then all of a sudden one day I'm sick and I test positive for COVID, and I'm like, what the heck? I have literally been doing nothing for the past week. It was right as we started potty training my son, and we started that on like a Wednesday. I was sick like Friday or Saturday or something. I think that's what it was because I didn't get tested till Monday because I actually got sick. So yeah, started feeling bad I think Friday night, Saturday morning. And so, but starting Wednesday when we were potty training, we just decided, hey, we're not going to go anywhere. We're going to keep him at home for the next few days. And over the weekend, we'll be at home. We're going to focus on this and tackle potty training. Just boom, we're going to be done with it. And we were, partially because had COVID and couldn't go anywhere. So the good news is we tackled potty training like a champ with my son. But around that time, I was like, even before it, I hadn't been around really anybody, hadn't done a whole lot, and somehow I get it. And yet I had been around other people all the time.
But you're eating that ice
half
cream.
A dozen other times, and I never got it. It's the ice cream.
Yeah.
I believe it.
Now, it's never come back up, so maybe it was just a one-off. Maybe it was a false positive, or maybe it is that it's in the food supply and people just don't want to talk about it.
I'm gonna start reading through studies from the CDC website tonight, see if I can find any other hints of
what else it might be in.
Yeah,
not meat, certainly not meat. And making sausage obviously gets rid of it.
I mean, one would think that even if it got into food, like someone was sick and they like hawked a loogie into some meat, there's obviously COVID in there. Then it should die when you cook it. I mean, nothing in theory should be able to survive through that, but you never know.
Well, like botulism, if you let it grow spores, then it's heat resistant up to like 400 and something degrees.
Yeah, but by the time you add in like salt and cure and heat, I mean, you have all three of those.
Yeah.
Can anything live through that?
You've got me, man. That'd be a question. Have you ever seen they call it a space bear? You ever seen this? Oh my God. They're these tiny, they're microscopic. Like you could never see them with a naked eye under like electron microscope. They're these tiny little things that look like kind of like a slug, but they've got like appendages and they've got a mouth that kind of like opens in all directions. So they look somewhat horrifying.
Yeah, that sounds really creepy.
But they're, what do they call them? Extremophile animals? Something like that. Like they can live in extreme environments. They can live in the vacuum of space. They can live up to like some ridiculous temperature range and ridiculously low temperature range. But whatever. So some things can.
Weird.
But yeah. All right. Go.
So this next story, I really didn't even care about the story itself. I just read it because I was angry when I was reading through it. So I'm not going to actually go into what the whole story was about. But just one little piece of it. It referenced beef, pork, and chicken prices, and it said that the ag department was expecting a 1 to 3% increase in beef, pork, chicken, and beef was like 1%, pork was 2%, chicken was 3%. So I kind of took that as kind of good news, going, hey, if that's what the projections are,
right,
I could live with only a 1 to 3% increase more.
Sure.
That sounds great. So maybe we're on the tail end of price increases and inflation stuff. So I
Or,
don't know.
and follow me here, that's a lie. And they know that's a lie.
Yeah, it very well could be.
Very well could be. But the part that Austin doesn't want to talk about is people were trying to say that the rise in grocery store bills was because of beef, pork, and chicken, and that is not the fact.
And we talked about that like a podcast or two ago.
I've talked about it on almost every podcast.
Yeah.
This is like, other than water, which is the stupidest thing to spend as much money on as I do, food is the next most expensive thing that I spend money on. I mean, other than that, I live a very simple life. I live 2 miles away from where I work. I drive a very old truck. I don't buy a lot of new clothes. Like, fishing stuff is probably like number 3 on my list, you know? So it annoys me that I'm paying this much money at the grocery store.
Actually, food may not be number 2, or food, water 1 and 2. I think I know what your number 1 would be.
No, I've gotten way better at energy drinks.
No, I was going to say I was going to say your dogs.
Oh, yeah.
You spend more money on your dogs than like anything.
100%. Do you know that they no longer will eat dry kibble? There has
Really?
to be some ground beef or something
man.
on top of it for them to even go over and entertain the idea of eating. Like, if I put a dry kibble bowl down there, no one goes and checks out their bowl. They have to see me go into the fridge, pull something out, and then, oh my. The Riggins does this tippy-tappy dance when I'm getting things ready. And he's got long nails because he won't let us trim them. And he just goes tip, 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 freaking out. Austin is looking on his phone for...
So I took a
What is
picture.
that?
I took a picture of this dog while I was on a trip
Oh,
a couple weeks ago,
nice.
just to show you, and I
Yeah.
forgot about it just till I was talking about
It's
that.
a good-looking brindle, some sort of mastiff.
So when I put my hand on its head, like it didn't even like touch like the eyes. Like
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
was
it's
so
huge.
massive.
Yeah.
Its head was probably the width of 2 of my hands, not like kind of pushed together, but just relaxed.
Yeah.
It was massive.
Is it a English mastiff? Do you know?
I have no idea.
Okay. Is this a hunting dog?
No.
Oh, it's a service dog.
It said service dog.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. But saw this dog in South Dakota at
Trump shop.
there's a store just in the middle of nowhere called the Trump Shop. We were riding ATVs and we just ended up out on this road, and we could take this road over to another spot. And as we're driving along, just Trump Shop. We're like, what?
What type of items did they sell at the Trump Shop?
2016 and 2020 campaign gear. It was so cool though. Like the lady that ran it, we talked to her for a while, just super great. If I would not cross her because she was, one of her shirts was like, "We don't call 911" type of things. And she's like, "Oh, we don't."
Yeah,
she's like, "There's so many mine shafts around here, 300 feet deep. They'll never find the body."
Did you know about the Free State Project up in New Hampshire?
No.
So New Hampshire, for the last, some libertarians have been moving to New Hampshire, and they're trying to do this thing they call the Free State, which is basically, I mean, growing up in the Northeast, you know, each state has its motto. New York is "I love New York." What is Kansas's motto? We're flat.
Oh,
See, you don't even know what it is. So maybe this is not
don't
as big
know.
a thing. Like in the Northeast, that like each state has its motto. Oh, that's right. It is. I've heard that before. Ad Astra. So New York says "I love New York." New Hampshire's is "Live free or die," and they mean that. They're not joking around about that. So anyways, there's a bunch of people up there who are trying to like basically create a breakaway state. And very similar to that, like they don't call the cops. They're taking care of their stuff on their own.
Yeah.
They don't want police or anybody in their business, and they will do what they feel needs to be done. So,
Yeah. So now that we're down a rabbit hole, I'm just going to keep digging down. So Ad Astra per Aspera. When Patrick said that rung a bell. So look up what it means. Like
To the
to the stars
stars.
through difficulty. What?
It's terrible.
Why?
That's terrible.
And you had the flat comment. Yeah, Kansas.
Way better.
I mean, we're not as flat as some areas. We have you need to visit some other states that are flat.
In Nebraska, but when I drove through Nebraska, it had way more hills than here.
You just
way
know
more.
You don't go through the right spots then. Like Wichita is fairly flat here.
Yeah.
You need to go towards the Flint Hills.
The
towards
Flint Hills are nothing.
Northwest
They are
Colorado. Or not Colorado. Northwest Kansas as you're going towards Colorado.
Okay.
You
That's
get
just
some
like
more.
one
They're not steep. They're just
steady
like,
incline the entire way. It's still flat. It's no up and down.
I don't know.
You could not build a ski mountain in Kansas. No.
There is a ski resort in Kansas.
I was going to say
There
that.
is.
It's up near Kansas City, right?
Yeah.
Because my sister, they like drove by it once, and they go to like really nice ski resorts in Colorado. They drove by it, and the kids wanted to see it, and she goes, "We're not getting out of the car. We're going home."
Yeah.
All right. Anyways, on to the next one.
Okay, so this next one, here's where, you said on the previous story, are they lying to us? Are they not?
Yeah,
this one, that was my first take at this. I'm like, are they lying? Why would they?
Now, the one thing so first of all, the headline of it was 1/4 of all consumers are cutting meat from their diets. Now, the one thing we have to be aware of is that we are very much in an echo chamber here. We work in this company that's involved in the meat processing. We're in a hunting culture. We're in ranching, farming. So we're very much in an echo chamber. That may be true in a big city.
Yeah. So, I can believe like the headline, 1/4 of all people are cutting meat from their diets. However, meat consumption still goes up. So I wanted to give a round of applause to the other 75% of us that are picking up the slack for those that aren't eating meat.
Oh, yeah.
So I thought that was cool. If the 25% is right, I believe that could be right. But the other 75%, I'm just glad we're all eating more meat. It's the next line that I don't believe.
Oh, see, that's the one I might believe.
Really?
Yeah. I'm more likely to believe that 32% of people identified as mostly vegetarian because the vast majority of Americans are mostly vegetarian. Like most of what they eat is not animal protein.
Yeah, but would they classify themselves, identify as
are
mostly
a lot of
vegetarian?
people who actually do say that I eat a mostly vegetarian diet. Okay. Well, guess what? So does almost everybody. We're all eating, cheese, salads. Well, cheese is vegetarian.
Cheese is still
it's not
vegetarian.
vegan.
Yeah.
So everything else, potatoes, all of that. And then you sort of supplement that with beef or, that's like, I don't know. But yeah, I've heard that for a long time now, like people who are saying they're mostly vegetarian. So I have no trouble believing that.
Interesting. So one of the things I specifically want to ask like the people listening, because I've noticed the last several podcasts, we've been getting a lot of engagement on Meatgistics over it. So I kind of want to know what everybody else thinks. Like, do you think that in your area are 1 out of every 3 people mostly vegetarians? Maybe it's just, where I am, like the only person that I've known for a long time that's mostly vegetarian be your wife.
No.
I literally don't know like other people that do that.
Different areas of the country
I don't know.
So different. That's
It just-
so weird.
It would have to be like a big city in California is like 80%. Just in an unimaginable number.
Growing up in high school, there were a bunch of the girls like that I went to school with who were like, "Oh, I'm vegetarian now. Don't eat meat." Like it's just a fad, but
Yeah.
now the cutting meat from their diet, that can be taken more than one way. Could also mean that they're cutting down on the amount of meat they're eating, which is reasonable and possible. Now, in the end, I applaud these people. I hope they continue with it because it's good for me. I will benefit from the reduced demand.
Yeah.
So I'll take it.
That is true. So the next one, this one was cool. We've done something similar to it, but now it makes me want to do something more. There were some people making sausage out of jackfruit.
Mhm.
So we did a Willet barbecue on jackfruit, basically more like pulled pork.
Yep.
And we did that. That was probably 4 years ago now.
I can't believe how long I've been in this position. Not even just with Walton's, but doing this.
Yeah.
You keep talking. I'm going to go look up my first appearance on our YouTube page.
So the jackfruit was one of the first things that I'd ever done that like we actually got to make that was supposed to be like meat, but not meat. And that was even before the whole Beyond Meat and Impossible Burgers and stuff like that. But it was just different. It was good. It definitely wasn't meat, but it was surprisingly similar. So if you could take that and make a sausage out of it, I really don't know that I would eat it a lot, but now just out of my own curiosity, I want to make
Try it for sure. No, there's no reason not to. Now, again, and we've beat this over the head, they're always trying to make things that aren't meat taste like meat, proving that meat is the best thing. Because why else try to make something else taste like meat that isn't? All right, as I'm scrolling through, there are a lot of videos. The whole Meatgistics episodes thing you used to do?
Yeah.
Probably should have continued that.
I don't know. In a way. Sometimes I cringe at some of those.
Come on. Of course.
Of course. I forget who it was. Our random topic generator or selector. I don't know what you call it. It has already brought up some old posts, and one of them was on one of my old Meatgistics episodes from then. And people were making comments. I looked like a
elf,
little child,
like a little elf,
which I did. But it was just interesting. And then I had to watch the episode.
Yeah.
And man, I'm jealous of how fast I could talk then.
Oh my God, it was a problem. It was yes, it was a legitimate problem. The number one comment I used to get when I first took over, and they were still like 90% your videos. The number one comment I would get is, why does that young man talk so fast?
See,
some lady finally responded to her own comment too, says, okay, I found I could play it at 0.75 speed or something.
That's my theory to it. You can play it slower, but I want to get through more information faster so people get more. And hey, we were growing, and we're still growing now. So it couldn't have been that bad.
But faster is not always better. All right, so May 15th, May 1st, 2017. I believe is my first. So
your first video?
Yep. That's a long time ago.
You did weird things with your hair. I don't know why. Your hair looked very weird then. Oh. That's the only thing I remember. FYI, I don't know if I ever told you, but
I have super curly hair.
Yeah, it was like the first video. It was like extra curly or something. I don't know.
The longer it gets, the more curly. I mean, it's gone now.
You need to keep the hat look.
I cut it down. I take a 1 and just have my wife go all over. I like it better.
I use a -1.
Now, speaking of that, I think we need to get some sort of groundswell movement to bring back the Austin with a beard, because that was a badass look. I remember one day I walked in, you had your beard, you had no hat on, you must have just shaved your head, and you had a thermal shirt on. You look like you were getting ready to go out and chop some wood or fight a bear, something.
Yeah. Would that have been physically fit Austin or fat Austin?
No, it was after the physical fitness had gone by the wayside.
Okay. Normally, to be honest, I would have a beard right now. Yeah. Almost every year for the past 7-8 years, I grew a beard for at least a short period of time towards the end of September. Because we always, me, my dad, my older brother, sometimes younger brother, and bunch of friends, we go to Colorado or somewhere to ride ATVs. That's why I was saying earlier I was in South Dakota. We were riding in South Dakota this year, but I normally stop shaving a few days before that. Don't shave for a week, 10 days, and then I get back, and then I'm like, yeah, we'll go another few weeks. This time, I just couldn't. It was already like at the super itchy phase, like super early on, and I was just done and over it. So I couldn't keep going. We'll see if I get back sometime this winter.
All right, back to our scheduled items now. Game and Fish encourages hunters to have their deer tested for CWD. This is another one where I'd like to see what people think of in the comments. And another thing, I don't know how exactly we could do this, but with more engagement on the Meatgistics podcast episodes, maybe we could do whatever comment gets the most upvotes. Get something? I don't know.
Yeah, we have to do maybe like a monthly thing on that.
Okay.
Through the course of the month.
Whichever
so you get 4
one gets the
episodes.
most.
Whoever has the most upvotes will do something. Maybe even just like $25 gift card. I don't know.
Or a hat.
Or hat. A lot of those guys have hats already.
Yeah, but they don't have all of them. I don't
Yes,
have
that's
all
true.
of them. There's
Honestly, I don't even have all of them anymore.
No, it's ridiculous. By far, I would say of all of them, other than blue, I would say this is my favorite hat.
Oh, this one is
fits
amazing.
so well. It's comfortable. The other fitted one, the camo one, like the more military style camo, I love that hat. But the medium to large is just a touch tight, and it gives me a headache. And in the other one, I feel like I'm swimming. Have you tried on a large, extra large of that?
No, but I know. I have another one exactly like this in a large, extra large.
You will feel like you're a kid in your father's like sweater or something. It comes down to like here on me. It's got extra loose material up here because my head can't fill it out.
My head's bigger than yours. It like kind of fits it like width wise, but not depth wise. Yeah. Like it comes way down into my ears. Goodness. It's just too big.
But hats are not something that we're ever going to have a problem not having enough variety.
Yeah.
And we have tons of them.
Well, I'm excited to see what these will feel like next summer when it's 110 out. Right now, it's still been 90.
Yeah.
Stupid weather. Wish it would just go away and give us some snow already. It's almost October. It should be like negative 20 out already or something.
No.
No, but it's been nice for moderate weather. I'm still concerned about it in like 100 degrees. That's why I like the orange mesh one so much, because there's nothing to that. You wear it outside when it's super hot.
So
it's fine.
The next time one of the non-team hats, so not team orange or team blue, runs out, we're going to revive a very old Walton's designed hat that I think is certainly one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm.
My wife hates it though. She does not like the color orange on me at all. She's like, you don't look good in that. She says that a lot. But so a lot of states will have a place set up to test for CWD, so you can bring your deer in there. Now, you said in your notes that chronic wasting disease is the equivalent of mad cow disease. So, yes, but mad cow disease, unless somebody ate the brains or the spinal column or got like the spinal column fluid on them, that didn't cross over to humans either.
Yeah. I'm curious because I've heard of CWD for so many years, and this isn't like the first year that people have been encouraging hunters to take their deer to get tested. It's been going on for a long time.
Right.
But it just makes me wonder. I've never actually heard of someone actually getting sick from it. So is it a big deal?
I haven't. I think the real concern with it is population. Like, what's it going to do to the deer population?
Okay. I thought there was just some leftover concern for people getting sick from it.
I don't believe so. And we've wanted to get a specialist on the podcast for a while with CWD. So we need to get back to trying to find that.
Yeah. So, like you said before, I want to know what everybody's opinion is on this one. See, do you take your deer in to get tested? Does it even bother you? Do you think twice about it? What are your thoughts on the whole CWD thing?
All right. So this was very much a clickbaity headline, but it got me. From totallyveganbuzz.com. Aldi infuriates is in quotation marks, meat eaters with new product launch. So they have a product that's meat-free bacon. It's plant. It says no pork, streaky bacon. So you and I have different opinions on this, and I see what the side is from your brother and you. I have no problem with fake meat products. I don't understand the whole thing, other than the meat industry has spent a lot of money marketing things as, this or that, and then they're just jumping onto that by calling it bacon when it's not.
It depends on who is regulating that product. In this case, it's like a pea protein bacon style is what I would call it.
Yep.
Because the USDA regulates everything in the meat industry, and they have very strict labeling requirements. Like if you can't just call something a country ham. If it wasn't made in the country, it has to be a country style ham.
Mm-hmm.
There are a bunch of rules very similar to that you can't just call something whatever you want. It has to be, it actually has to fit the name.
Okay, wait, you're saying that a country ham, part of the requirements is that it's made out in the country?
Something like that. I don't.
Oh, okay. So you're okay. So that's just.
I would need to pull up the actual.
Yes, that's not what it is. But okay, you're using it as an example.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So in this case, I don't want to see other stuff being called bacon because it's not bacon. It's a bacon style product. You can use bacon in it, but somehow you have to clearly differentiate that it is not bacon. So that's what I have a problem with. I don't have a problem with non-meat products. I think it's fine. I'll eat stuff like that. Every now and then my wife will do something that I'm like, I'm not eating that one. But for the most part, I'm fine with it. I just don't like the naming because the meat industry has to follow by all these other extra regulations and guidelines that then somebody like this comes in and just names it what they want.
Right. I guess part of like, I have more faith, I think, in the shoppers than you do. Like, I think someone's going to look at that and immediately know just from appearance that that is not a bacon product. But I do get what you're saying. That is a very valid point. They shouldn't be able to jump on to all of the marketing success that meat producers have done over years promoting bacon. All right, but a couple things I did want to do is I want to read some of the social media comments left on this, because it is pretty funny. One man says, call it something else. Bacon is a cure, or bacon is a cut of meat sample. So that's easy one. Another added, getting peed off now. You don't want to eat meat, so why the hell do you want to eat product that resembles it? But that, again, just shows that meat is the best.
Yeah.
Bacon is bacon, which is meat. This isn't, so don't call it bacon. Then we start getting ones from the other way. I'm not a vegan or veggie at all. Really love meat and the dairy, but I don't get why people get so annoyed at stuff like this. I think it's great to have a wide range of food options. Sometimes I try them myself just for a change. So that'd be similar, like your wife, somebody does that. This one, though, makes me laugh because they're trying to, I'll read the comment and then we'll see what they were trying to do. For those complaining about being called bacon because you want it described accurately, maybe the meat version should be called sliced pig back or side, for the sake of accuracy and all that. Yep, that's fine. I know exactly what I'm eating. You're not going to, call veal dead baby cow. That's a bad one because I ethically don't eat veal. Not because it's a baby, but because they keep it immobile to make everything more tender. I believe that's what they do. I probably need to look into that more before I keep saying that.
John, are you believing too much of what you read at face value?
It's a constant struggle. Like we've talked about it in the past, but real quick, I'll bring it up again. It's something called Gellerman Amnesia. Gellerman Amnesia syndrome? Darn it. I don't even remember it now. Gellerman something. And what it is I would consider myself an expert on sausage making. So if I read an article in the New York Times about sausage making and it's filled with inaccuracies, then I go to the next article and I read something about world politics, but I just assume that that's all correct. Like, these are all just done by people, and I don't feel, this is getting deeper, but I don't feel like people do as thorough a job with almost anything anymore. Or they never did, and I just used to have more faith that people were working harder than they do. One of those two things. Either way, my childhood is shattered. Absolutely shattered. Nothing has been what I thought it's been my entire life. I'm going to go into an existential crisis now. Hello, midlife crisis.
Second one, first one,
Start
third
drinking,
one.
Change these with one of those frizzy vodka soaked seltzer things. Just start doing that, I guess.
Like just like a seltzer. Or
Yeah,
like,
but all those seltzers like now have vodka or something in them.
oh yeah,
Like vodka induced.
like a Bud Light seltzer type of thing. Is that
Yeah,
what
but
you're
I
talking
don't
about?
think that's vodka. Is it?
Well, no, I don't know.
I don't know.
It's alcohol.
No idea. But just made me laugh that you see two sides going at it in the Aldi's comments on Facebook over whether this should be considered meat or not. How about you just let everybody do what they want? I get your side of the argument, but
I don't know. Normally I'm on that side of just let people do what they want. But the problem is it's deception. That's what I view it as, and it's.
I don't think it's fooling anybody.
It may not right off the bat, but it's just that subtle background that's just constantly just.
Have you ever had fake
chirping
bacon
in your brain? Yeah, it's not.
Is there any way you could possibly?
It's not even close to regular bacon.
Significant own food of own category of food. Nothing else tastes like it, and it doesn't taste like anything else. Nobody is gonna microwave up some of that and be like, "Oh, just as good as the real thing."
Yeah, but here's where I'll throw out. I don't know what word you used. It sounded way too fancy, and I don't know what it means. But earlier we were talking about like we're in like a little bubble here, maybe
echo chamber.
Echo chamber. Are we in an echo chamber? And like we know what bacon is because that's what we do. That's where we live, who we're associated with, and who we're around. Versus what about some kid who grows up in downtown LA and is just in the middle of the city, concrete jungle, never seen a pig, never seen a cow, and that's all his parents ever give him is the fake bacon, and that's what he knows and believes to be true bacon.
Okay. Leo has already had bacon, I assume? Okay, so that's too late for him. I need complete and total control of your next kid for the first 16 years. He will never leave. I will buy a cabin in the middle of the woods. I'll feed him no bacon. We'll bring him back here, give him 2 pieces of bacon and say, which one do you think is real bacon? And he will immediately pick the one that's real bacon. Because the other one looks like a cardboard. It doesn't look like an animal product.
They don't know, but you don't know what bacon's supposed to look like.
He will know it is deeply ingrained in our DNA.
I don't think so.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
It might taste better. Most people, I think, would probably say, "Oh yeah, real bacon's going to taste better." But who's to say which one is actually the real bacon? Because they have no idea.
Since I've known my wife, she's wanted a pig, and anytime there's a cute pig on Instagram or something, she sends it to me and like, ooh. First of all, Brutus would probably be fine with it, but Riggins is. If you bring a baby pig into the house, that's dead. He's going to chase it down at some point. Same thing with a cat. So I don't have a cat. But anyways, I've told her we can get a pig if we get some land and then we eat it. Like that is part of the deal. So we don't have a pig because she refuses to agree to my totally reasonable demand.
I've got a better one.
Go ahead.
You guys get a pig, raise it, and feed it. I'll eat it.
All right. So medical news today, the benefits of lean meats and how to choose meats. So I'm going to read from this article. Choosing lean meat and poultry can help someone keep their saturated fat intake within guidelines and reduce their risk of chronic disease. Healthier choices include beef that is at least 90% lean and skinless chicken. Many people are aware that the experts advise limiting the amount of red and processed meats they eat. These are the same people who created the food pyramid, saying we needed to eat mostly grains and carbs. I don't care about anything these people say. Everybody who was involved with creating the food pyramid needs to go to jail, and I'm not really kidding on that. I'm really not.
Yeah, I can hear the seriousness in your voice, and that's what I'm laughing at.
For decades, because they were bribed by people in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
They destroyed an entire multiple generations' health by telling them they needed to get addicted to carbs and sugar, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not only just physical health. I'm a huge proponent of what you eat. You are what you eat. Like there's a reason that saying is stuck around for forever. The last 6 months, I have been eating probably the worst I have in the last 8 years. I'm not as mentally sharp. I don't have the memory. I don't have the focus. I don't have the drive. And I keep trying to clean it up. But like one little stressful thing happens and I go, Oreos, yay. It's, you want to talk about it's not a pandemic, but you want to talk about like a health emergency in this country. That's it. Now, real quick, where do you think the U.S. would rate in fattest countries in the world?
Oh, top 10% for sure.
Do you have a number?
Well, how many countries are there?
There's 159 rows on this. So I assume that's 100.
I'm going to say that we're 153.
Like we're 6 from the top?
Well, yeah, like
okay.
6 from being like the fattest.
The fattest, okay. We're actually 12th from being the fattest, which is better than I would have thought. I would have guessed we were top 5. But there are a bunch of islands that you never heard of. Nauru, Cook Islands I've heard of.
Okay, so how many like real countries then?
Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, Austin. These are all real countries.
No.
That's very, very hurtful.
If they don't have nuclear weapons, they're not a real country.
Then we're the fattest. Samoa, Kiribati, Micronesia, Kuwait, and then the United States of America. Now, this was back... Patrick off camera just says we're number 1 because he doesn't consider those other ones countries.
I agree with Patrick.
Very hurtful. I would be really interested. Like Samoa is an American protectorate. I think the islands of Samoa. It's something like they're tied into us.
They're
somehow.
Yeah.
So they have a very strong like warrior culture, like to an extreme degree. They make great NFL players. Troy Polamalu was a Samoan. I would be really interested to see like what happened. Did Coca-Cola come in and then just all of a sudden all just started drinking Coke all day? Because I can't imagine that before like they were westernized, they were a fat culture. I don't know. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
But seriously, do your own research on what diet is best for you. Everybody is different. I do way better when I eat heavy on fats and lighter on carbs. I think that's probably true for most people. But we've been so ingrained to avoid fat. And then another one is cholesterol. Like, oh, it's low in cholesterol. Nobody cares. Like the amount, your cholesterol intake has very little to do with the cholesterol that's in your blood. Those are 2 totally separate mechanisms, have almost nothing to do with each other. In fact, cholesterol is a building block for all of your muscles, your everything. Very important. And the last piece of advice I will give you, if you see something that is labeled as fat-free or lower fat, run away from it. Don't touch that product. It will be loaded with all sorts of sugars and other things that are way worse for you than fat. I'm going to get a big cup of just melted pork fat. I'm going to drink it live on one of our live streams. Just people.
Bacon grease.
Yeah.
I'm in. Can I do that too?
No, Jenny might kill me.
So random tidbit. I was at Brahms the other day, and for their frozen yogurt, they advertised that it's 93% fat free,
and then it's 7% fat. Yep.
That just made me laugh. I'm like, yeah. For some people, they might go, "Oh, that sounds great." No, that's still 7%.
7% straight fat.
Mm-hmm.
These sausages are 80% fat free. We should 20% pork fat.
We should try to start a new trend in like how we reference like meat products. Instead of saying, hey, it's 70-30, 80-20, this and that, just
70% fat free.
Yeah, always refer to it as 70% fat free.
That's not bad. Now, one other thing I do eventually want to get into, and this is something I've thought of over the years. Sugar free doesn't mean there's no sugar in it. Like Tic Tacs are sugar free. That's because there's less than 1 gram of sugar per serving. They consider, I think, each one a serving, and there's just under 1 gram of it. Okay. Which of our seasonings would qualify as sugar-free? There's got to be most of them that are under 1 gram per what's in the.
Yeah.
So why don't we market them as sugar-free?
I don't know. We'd have to get a hold of the Excalibur guys that were just in here. Probably ask one of their people. They would know what the legality is on the labeling requirements there.
But that's fair. We talked about it in the past, and I don't know if you're going to get mad at me for bringing this up because you told me no. We talked about having like almost like a keto friendly list of seasonings. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to do that because they change so often. No, they don't change that often.
I mean, part of me just doesn't want to do it because there's other things we could spend our time on, and I don't think it's going to be valuable enough. But I don't know that it necessarily hurt.
I bet you if we had just like a sticker or something we could put on a seasoning page that says like keto friendly, I would imagine a lot of the people who are buying products from us are people who care about what they're eating, and that tends to be the keto paleo community.
You can do that then if you can figure out a way to make it so we can apply any tag. So basically, it's going to be a section on a product page that we would basically have an attribute.
Gotcha.
That we could assign one. We could assign 10 different things to, because then we could utilize that for all kinds of stuff.
Right.
And then you could throw out keto. You could throw out a whole bunch of other stuff and see.
This one's just
does it help?
fatties.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to put a label in there for like
fat lovers.
Good enough to clog all your arteries or something.
Yep. Now, last thing I want to talk. Do you have anything else?
I did.
Okay.
Don't remember what it was.
If it comes up while I'm talking, just interrupt me.
But, okay.
Earlier today, we were testing some new equipment. I was running a new employee through some things. And I don't know when it came in. When we ordered all these new seasonings from Excalibur, one of them that we got was the pizza flavored Frankenweenie seasoning, right? So it's a cured sausage. It's meant to be done as a hot dog, obviously, but it's a cured sausage, so it's perfectly fine to put in through a snack stick. I did them in snack sticks with some mozzarella cheese, and do we have something there? That is super good. I took what was left over in the stuffer, and I made a huge patty out of it, almost like a loaf, and I just threw it in the little oven over here, and wow, really, really good. And everybody seemed to like it. So I don't know I think he listens to these. I know Mike Williams. T. Williams. Yeah, T. Williams. I know he had been doing the pizza and jerky snack stick and had some problems with them. Give this one a shot. It, in my opinion, tastes way more like a pizza.
Yeah, it was incredible.
Yeah, and if we grind up some pepperoni and put it in that, then I think we're really onto something.
I'm tempted. Now, hold on. I wasn't really paying attention close enough. Did
That's
you
no
say?
Surprise.
Yeah. Did you say it was a snack stick, a brat, or what is it?
So it's a pepperoni flavored Frankenweenie.
Oh,
sure.
yeah. Okay. Because to be honest, I would almost. We'll see. I probably need to try them side by side, but I might lean towards that one over the Supreme Pizza Bratwurst.
Yep.
And the Supreme Pizza Bratwurst has been one of my favorite brat seasonings for the past decade.
Yep. So it's pizza flavored Frankenweenie.
Okay.
Yeah, that is without the pepperoni in there. It's as good as with the pepperoni. And Patrick brought this up. The Supreme Pizza is very good, but you do get a lot of like the Supreme flavor in it. Like you get a lot of fennel in there. You get what was the other one you called right out? It's not olive. Yeah. So you get a lot of that. With this, it just tastes like pizza. For ours tastes a lot similar to pizza, especially like after you're done chewing. Like you chew it, you bite into it, you're like, oh, well, that's a good flavor, but you don't really necessarily get pizza. You're done chewing, like a creamy pizza taste comes through, and you're like, oh yeah, that's what we were looking for. So highly, highly recommend. We don't have a ton in stock, so we'll see how that goes. But it's up on the website right now.
Like something where we need to.
No, I think we're okay.
Yeah,
it's just not a ton.
Yeah. We'll see what happens as long as a commercial guy doesn't come along and go,
snag it.
I'm going to make 1,000 pounds of this.
All right, you got anything else?
No, that's all I got for
today. Couldn't think of what you were trying to.
Yeah, I got nothing. I don't remember.
You remember as soon as we end.
I'll think of it later, and I'll just hold on to it for next time.
Sounds good. All right, if you're watching on YouTube, like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening on any type of Google Podcast, Apple, iTunes, anything like that, please do leave a review. It really does help.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thanks for checking out the Meatgistics podcast. To shop everything but the meat, head on over to waltonsinc.com. And to get your meat processing questions answered by experts and enthusiasts alike, head on over to our online community at meatgistics.com. Walton's, everything but the meat.